Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. John Henry Soto here. So, is it confidence or recklessness? Which one is it? Let's talk about that. 7 a.m. All right, all right. Well, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a wonderful morning. Had a blessed Easter with family. Um, we had a really nice time yesterday. We were invited to breakfast and a service. Uh, Pastor Bill Willard here at the new church on 33rd and Avenue C gave a wonderful sermon and a lot of wonderful people, great music, singing. Just had a great time yesterday. It was really fun with the family and everything. So thank you to everyone there. God bless you all. It was definitely a lot of fun. Um, so today we're gonna dive into a little. This is, I guess, this is sort of a personal one for me, which I guess they're all personal. But this one I'm kind of a little passionate about because there is this strange idea sometimes that you hear from individuals or you hear them say certain things um, where confidence and recklessness are kind of confused when it comes to what you're trying to achieve in life. And confidence is a very tricky thing in today's social media driven world, right? You post a picture of yourself doing something that you love and that you're passionate about, and that you've been given this talent by God to do these things to make people laugh and to entertain people or to motivate people. Um, and wasting the talent is doesn't make any sense. It's not a rational decision, right? So when you're out there and you're promoting these things, sometimes people think that, well, is he, should he be doing these things? I mean, he's got two kids, it's driving me crazy up here. Sorry, a little lint on my hat. Still cold over here. I can't believe it. This side of the house. But people are, they think, well, is he should he be doing this? He's got two kids. You know, he's a real estate agent, he's this, he's that, and I get that all the time from people. It never really bothers me. It actually entertains me. It gives me content. Here I am talking about it. But the recklessness part of it is what really doesn't make any sense to me. People will label you as someone who's irresponsible or reckless or something. And the bottom line to that is really what what joy you're bringing to others, right? What entertainment you're bringing to others? What value are you bringing to others? Are you helping others in any way possible? These things are what really matters. And for me, I think most of the things that I dive into are, they may look selfish, but they're always with the intention of bringing something to the world to make it better, to make it more beautiful, to make it more entertaining, to make people laugh, to make people kind of have a little bit more of more just more hope sometimes. Sometimes they'll see someone doing something that they wish they were doing, or that maybe that they wish they were brave enough to do, even because sometimes I'll do something and people are like, man, how did you do that? I would never be able to do that. Even doing this live show that I do 5 days a week, it's live. I'm right now. It is 7:04 right now as I speak to all of you in the morning. It is Monday, April 5th, 2021. I'm doing this on the fly, as they say. I mean, I have some ideas of what I'm going to say and some thoughts, but people will look at this and be like, "That's so." I wish I could do that, or I don't have the nerve to do that. And I spoke about this, a couple of days ago on a show where I talked about everyone should have some type of a podcast or some type of a of something, especially if they're an entrepreneur trying to get their message out, because it humanizes your product, it humanizes your brand, and it provides value that only you can provide. So that's one of those reasons, right? Now there's other reasons. Um, I know for a fact that my family likes to live life different. Yesterday I posted something on Facebook from a conversation that I heard some people having, where they were talking about life in such a format. It was such a formula. It was almost watching like an episode of one of those Law and Order shows, where you knew in the first 20 minutes it's going to be this, and the next 30 it's going to be this, and then it's going to resolve itself. And it's like any story, right? But um this was so perfectly written when they talk about these perfect stages of life of where they are. And I find that so sad and tragic. There's no joy to living. There's no being spontaneous. There's no, and maybe for them there is. Maybe that is maybe that is, so it's not to invalidate anyone's accomplishments, but there's just so many other things that you can be doing, especially if you were into something and you walked away from it, or you said, well, that's kind of, I don't want to do that because that's a reckless thing, that's being irresponsible. It's not, I don't want to really follow my dreams in that direction because there's no money in it. That's a big thing. There's no future in it. There's no jobs in it. There's all this nonsense that people talk about, to not go into something that they're. And so I talked a little bit about, or I posted something where it just said, the people talking about this new norm, right? That we're talking, everybody's talking about, which I've never gone into because I hate that expression because it's stupid. It doesn't, it's just a stupid thing. But the new norm, everyone talking about. And I'm thinking about, well, what about the old new norm that started in the 50s, right? That norm that's still carrying on to some degree in so many parts of America, across America, where you have people, you have to go to college. I mean, that is just, you have to go to college, no, you don't. You you get married at like 23 years old, 24 years old, um, and then you have a couple of kids shortly right after, right? You have a couple of kids, then you get a job, then you either move to you take your job to another area, you move to another state because there's another job there, or a better job, or an opportunity of some sort, which is cool, which is it's a cool thing, because you're doing it for your family, you're doing it for your career, and that's kind of a cool thing, right? And then you start just living and working your life, working your job, and living. And then the kids get older, they graduate college because they have to go to college. Then they leave the house, right? They, empty nest now, the parents, and then they keep working for a little bit. Then they retire. After they retire, they move down to Florida or somewhere south, right? Usually Florida, right? And then they wait for the Grim Reaper to appear. Um, that seems to be this formula that many people just kind of fall into, as like, well, that's what you do. And you're crazy if you're not doing something. If you're not, doing something different. If you're doing something different. And I look at it, I think for me is a little bit different because I grew up in an environment where that was not even a thing. That we didn't even talk about that growing up, right? The South Bronx was very violent when I grew up. I did see murders in front of me by the age of 15, 16 years old. And when you see someone's life being taken from them in front of you, they were alive, then they're not. And you see them fall, and that whole thing happens. It changes your viewpoint on life. It changes your perspective, on how much you want to live. You want to live, you want to do things. You want to be able to experience life and all that it has to offer. And you want to be able to move into areas that maybe make you uncomfortable, and that's really where growth happens, is when you're uncomfortable. It's that whole thing of the little piece of grass that's between the cracks, right? It's like a lot of pressure and a lot of uncomfortable, and the grass still grows in that uncomfortable little tiny squeezed area where it's uncomfortable, but it grows, and you can grow better, faster, more beautifully if you're put yourself in positions that make you uncomfortable. Now, of course, you go into it with some reason. You know, you have to be reasonable, right? Um, I've left jobs to go into acting. Um, made no money, made a little bit of money, and then started making a little bit more money. And then I started directing instead of just sticking with the acting. I wanted to direct because I got fascinated with the writing element, and so I started writing and then casting films and then directing films, and then diving into that area. And it's been it's been the greatest experience of my life, to put stories together that are going to be around for a very long time, long after I'm gone, um, that have influenced and have inspired and have really, I've gotten wonderful responses and reviews for my projects, and I still have a lot more coming. I have a new one coming out soon that's being the sound is being corrected and cleaned up, as they say. Um, Currently, it was just color corrected. I have another one right behind that that I'm editing right now, and I'm gonna finish that one this year as well. And then I have another one that I got cast in, which I'm gonna be shooting that one as an actor, not as a director, but I'm gonna be an actor in that. Um, and I have my agency is back. Had a little bit of issues. Found out that the guy, one of the agents, the people that I work with, unfortunately passed away. I don't have any details, but I just found out a few days ago, tragically. So condolences to the families and to everyone over at that agency. Um, um, but I'm going to be getting in communication with them again and starting that process. We also, my wife and I, also have her business, which her art business, which I help her with. Yourwholesomejourney.com. If anybody's interested, you can get a mug like this with her artwork right on it. So one of a kind. You're not gonna go to Walmart and find this, right? And the coffee just tastes better out of her mug. It does. Um, but that's yourwholesomejourney.com. You can we started that. We're also planning a few other pretty big major moves actually that we're going to be talking about later on, maybe in a few weeks, maybe even sooner than that, maybe a little later than that. But we have some stuff happening. So there's constant movement, there's constant excitement, going into things that you've never done before. I'm also a live streamer on Bigo Live and on Likey, an app called Likey. This show right now is also on Twitch, which I'm diving into as well. Um, and all these things come together and really make, for me, an exciting opportunities, because it opens up the doors to so many other things, not to mention the fact that you meet so many wonderful people by doing things that put you into different space, and that's my advice to everyone. It's like, put yourself into different space. So people who sometimes will go to work and they take the same exact route to work, and I spoke a little bit about this on the show a couple of weeks ago with my cousin, the Counterparts show that we do on Star Trek and stuff. The show is basically building a bridge between Star Trek and everything else. So we talk about Star Trek, but we also come talk about life issues. And one of the things that we talked about was that, about how he mentioned, when he takes the train, when he was living in New York and stuff, and you take the train to go to work, instead of always going the same route, the same thing, you get into the same car, same train car, you stand in the same area. Sometimes he'll just walk down the block, or down the platform. And as he walks down the platform, he sees somebody that he hasn't seen in a long time. He said that story, and he had met somebody that he hadn't seen in a long time, because he decided to just not do the same exact routine. He decided to change it up. When you're driving somewhere and you're going, you take the same, take another road, take a side road, take another back road, or maybe take a more scenic route that takes a little bit longer, but it's more beautiful, you know And this will get you out of the patterns and out of that workaday world where people get, you get into this thing, right? You're just focusing on that, and that's pretty much it. When you start really looking around and start looking at the possibilities of doing other things, it changes the game. It really, really does. Give yourself that opportunity. You're living now. You're not waiting to start living, right? You're alive now. You've been given the opportunity to live. You've been given a body. You are a spiritual being. You've been given all the gifts to create, to influence, to help others. This is the power that you have. We all have this ability. So use it. And sometimes you have to first use it on yourself, because before you can help others, right? The whole thing about when you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask falls down, you have to put it on first on yourself before you can help anybody else, right? You do have to be in a position that you can help others. And in order for you to be in that position, you have to put yourself into situations that are going to make you stronger so you can help others. And those uncomfortable moments, they're blessings. They're blessings. I remember my first audition ever was the most nerve wracking. I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna puke. I was so nervous in this room with all these people and waiting to be called into a room to basically be judged, right? I remember reading my lines over and over and over again and trying to figure out how I was gonna deliver them. And I was nervous and my stomach was tight and I had this sweat thing and I'm trying to just kind of relax. I'm taking deep breaths. That was me in the waiting room. Just, I thought I was gonna pass out, man. And I got called in. I did the audition, and it went well. I was very lucky. I had a really good first audition. I don't know, I think I would have kept going even if it was a bad audition, but I don't know that for sure. It was a good audition. I didn't. The project never happened anyway, but I left there, and I am telling you that I felt a rebirth by just doing this simple, silly thing. I put myself in front of people in a New York City casting agency to be judged on a role, to play a role in a film. And for me, it was the most difficult taking the elevator and pressing that button, getting in that elevator, going up to whatever floor it was, getting out and walking to that room and then opening that door and seeing people there. And then even after that, all auditions are the same. They're nerve wracking, because they make no sense to begin with, right? Nobody can judge you on how you're going to perform on a film in a little, 20-second reading. It's kind of ridiculous, but they want to do it and they see you doing it. It's changed drastically since COVID because people are doing it now via this, and this has been a lot. This has been actually a blessing for a lot of people for them to do these auditions. They don't have to go in. And I think a lot of casting agencies, just on a side note, I think casting agencies have actually realized, why are we renting all this space every single day when we can just be renting rooms when we're doing the final auditions, when we finally just get, a good 4 or 5 people. But anyway, I digress. Um, but that situation, that experience, I remember taking that elevator back down and hitting that button and taking that breath, and I felt so alive, and I felt so in a different space. I remember walking outside, and the first person I called was my mother. I called my mom and I told her, I said, "Mom, I went on my first audition ever and it went good. I don't know if I got it or not, but it went really good." And she was so proud of me and she was so happy. She was one of my biggest fans. She passed away in 2009. And she was just an incredible support, but I felt so alive. And then I called my acting coach second and I told her, I was like, I did it. I did it. These were very supportive people to this craziness that I was attempting. And shortly after that, I booked a ton of work, made some money. It wasn't prime time, but I got cast, And then I started getting cast in commercials. And the commercial world is interesting. I remember getting cast in a commercial and getting paid like over $2,000 for a 1 day shoot. And I was just like, wow, this is a pretty good deal. And I was a featured player, as they said, and I had no lines. It was just a commercial for a cell phone company. And but once you open that door, or push that door open, and I heard Steve Harvey talking about this the other day about a door closing. If a door closes on you, don't try to keep pushing that door open, because there are thousands of doors available. You can just go to another door. It may be right next door to that door. And if that person is locking you out, that person is lost, right? That person has lost. You go down to the next door. You push that door open. And I guarantee you that when that door opens, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be so much better than that door that you're sitting outside of, pushing, waiting for that door. Don't wait for doors. Open other doors, find other doors, knock them down, build your own door and open it up for others. you know Make the opportunities for yourself, create your own future, live your life that you were meant to live, take chances, take risks. You're living now. We're not waiting to be born. We are alive. We are here. This is it. Everyone, sometimes I hear people say, not everyone, but a lot of people, I hear them say, well, as soon as I get this, then I should be fine. As soon as I get that, then I should be fine. When this check comes in from the stimulus check, then I'm going to be fine. When I get the new apartment, then I'll be fine. When I get the new job, then I'll be fine. No, no, those things are not going to make you fine if you're not fine now. Make yourself fine today. Be the person that you want to be. Just make a decision and say, this is who I want to be. Spiritually, you have the strength to do that. You have the power of God. You have your family. You have your friends. You have these abilities in you. So you can go out and you can do these things. You can, I guarantee. And will you be nervous as hell taking a risk? Oh my God, yes. But just know that right around shortly right after that, that little tiny hill of fear, which doesn't even exist, as soon as you get there and you get through it, you're going to look back and be like, man, I cannot believe I was freaked out by this. This is nothing. It's the same thing when I went live for the first time. I was nervous. I was sweating. I'm in my house going live on my phone back then, recording myself saying, "Hi everybody. This is Johnny. I so anyway, and it was, I wasn't good. I didn't know what I was saying. Sometimes I still don't know what I'm saying, but I take that risk because I know that right around the corner is a glorious feeling. It's a feeling of an accomplishment that it looks so simple, and you think, wow, I can't believe I just did that. That's so great. I'm so happy. I tell that to my wife. I want her to know where she was to where she is, the improvement of life, the betterment of life, because you took that risk. Now you do this because you did that thing. Remember that thing you did 2 years ago? Remember, you took that risk, and now here we are. You have, you're reaping the rewards because of that risk, So that's my spiel for the day, folks. I hope you got some value out of that, and I hope you're going out there and taking life by the horns and saying, I'm going to attempt to do this, and I'm going to write down my goals, and I'm going to start checking them off, and I'm going to do things that make me uncomfortable, and I'm going to put myself in positions of power and take that risk, because I'm promise you that on the other side is just heaven. It's a glorious, glorious place to be, when you can confront those fears. All right, folks. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you all very much. Um, make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you all tomorrow morning. And as always,